This is our solar system. We have found out so much about it, yet this solar system has so many secrets deep inside it, yet to be discovered. Our solar system consists of the Sun and the planets that revolve on its own axes and also move around the Sun. Earth is the only planet in our solar system that has life and is inhabited by living organisms of various kinds. This planet Earth is our world, of which we human beings are also a part. We share our world along with other living organisms. We all live in different parts of the world and get used to our surroundings. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live in a different part of the world? What would the weather be like? What kind of animals would you see? What are the different kinds of plants that grow there? As we start looking for the answers of these questions, we start learning about the biomes of our planet Earth. Now, let us see what a biome is. The Earth has many different environments. These environments vary in temperature, moisture, light, and many other factors. These factors help in forming a habitat. Each of these habitats has a distinct life form living in it. This complex community of plants and animals in a region and a climate is called a biome. The climate and geography of a region determines what type of a biome can exist in that region. The Earth includes a huge variety of living things, from complex plants and animals to very simple, one-celled organisms. But large or small, simple or complex, no organism lives alone. Each depends, in some way or the other, on various other living and non-living things in its surroundings for its survival. So it is interesting to know that the biome concept embraces the idea of community. A community where vegetation, animal populations and soil interact with each other, as this interaction helps the living organism survive. As we all living beings form a part of the biome, it is important for us to know what the biome contributes to our survival. The survival and well-being of the biome and its organisms depends on ecological relationships throughout the world. Any changes in part of the world that are far, far away from us not only affect our environment, but also us. Even a small change in the atmosphere anywhere in the world can have an impact on our biome. For example, the eruption of a volcano in Mexico can bring the temperature of the whole world down a few degrees for several years. So let's take this adventurous journey of discovery and through the various biomes of our beautiful planet that we call Mother Earth.
These are the temperate grasslands, like a green sea that stretches to the horizon and melts into the blue sky. The constantly blowing wind makes the grass sway from left to right and right to left. The whole grassland ambience is filled with the sound of these swaying grasses and the humming of countless insects. This is how a typical grassland appears in summer heat. Now, let us take a closer look at various grasslands spread across the globe. Temperate grasslands are found in the center of continents, far from the sea. This is the grassland found in western part of America. They are called prairies. And as we can see, they are big, flat and open, like a green desert. They can appear lifeless and empty, but this is not so. In South America, these huge expanses of lush green grasslands are known as the Pampas. While in southern part of Africa, the name given to the grasslands is velds. The grassy plains of southeastern Australia are known as rangeland. The grasslands stretching across Central Asia are so vast that they can be clearly seen from space. The grasslands here are known as steppes. These lush green grasslands are a part of the biome called the temperate grassland. The word temperate represents the weather of the grasslands, where the summers can be warm and winters chilly. The temperate grasslands are considered as one of the world's most important biomes. But life in this biome is not an easy one. It can be very hard indeed. As we shall see ahead, the plants, animals and people living in this biome have to be tough to survive. This is a normal day on a bright summer. Looking at the grasslands, anyone can form an opinion that temperate grassland is an easy place for plants, animals and human beings to live. But this is not so. In fact, these grasslands face harsh environments with a climate that can be punishing. At one moment, the grasslands are peaceful, and then suddenly the next moment, fierce storms can break out at any time. And when this happens, howling winds tear across the land, whipping up powerful dust storms. First condition, there is very little shelter to be found. Grasslands can be very unfriendly place indeed. Seas of grass are spread across the plains and hills of every continent except Antarctica, where it is very cold. Normally, temperate grasslands are in the center of continents far from the sea. As the name suggests, they occur in the world's moderate zone between the heat of the tropics and the cold of the poles. Very little rainfall makes survival for plants and trees difficult, hence desert occurs. In places with more rain, grasslands occur, and this shapes the grassland biome. The amount of rainfall decides which plants grow there. The wettest parts have greatest variety of plant life. Heavy rains allow dense forests and vegetation. Very little rains create deserts. Moderate rains create temperate grasslands. The amount of rain determines which grassland exists where. Prairies of USA have rains in late spring and early summer. Torrential rains create temporary pools of stream. During late summer, due to lack of rain, drought bakes the earth and occasional violent thunderstorm creates steppes of Asia. This transforms Greenland into dry and dusty area where grass turns into dry yellow straws. The steppes of Mongolia have extreme temperature, very hot in summer and extremely cold in winters. The grass here vanishes under thick blanket of snow. Such changes test the endurance of plants, animals and people. Wind also affects the biome of grassland. Due to the expanse of the land, wind blows harder in USA as there are not enough trees to stop the wind. In winter, it sweeps snow into deep drifts. It also dries out land by speeding water evaporation. In hot countries, this is the grassland biome. There is more rain in the tropics than in the temperate grassland. The hot, wet climate makes tropical grassland a different place from temperate grassland. There are more trees and bushes, and grass grown here is much faster and taller. Africa is the best part of the world to compare two grassland biomes. Vast areas of this continent are covered with savanna tropical grassland, dotted with trees and woodland. Further towards south, there is lesser rain and winters are cooler. Temperate grassland takes over in southern Africa. The main type of grassland here are called veldt. Generally, temperate grasslands share the same basic climate, but each has its own unique condition. The pampas of South America has milder winters and cooler summers than North America's prairies. But there are no ground frosts or snow. The prairies are located in central North America. They stretch from the Rocky Mountains east across the heart of the continent. The prairies region covers an area of about 3 million square kilometers. Wild prairie once covered most of North America and some Canadian provinces. These windswept lands now form one of the world's biggest farming regions, creating North America's gigantic wheat belt. The most commonly seen prairie bird is the prairie chicken. It is interesting to observe that each spring, male prairie chickens get together in large groups. They rapidly stomp the ground and strut about making loud moans, clucks and hoots. By doing this, they try to attract female prairie chickens from the surrounding area. The females gather around the edge of the circle. At first, they don't look very interested, but finally, some of them mate with the best dancers. The Pampas grasslands. The word Pampas is derived from a Quechua Indian word that means flat surface or a plain. These grasslands lie at the southern end of South America. They are spread across a huge flat region between the Andes Mountains in the west and the Atlantic Ocean in the east. The weather here is generally mild, with summers being pleasant and cool. The Pampas grasslands include most of northern Argentina, western Uruguay, and the southernmost part of Brazil. Deposits of volcanic ash, cover the maximum area of the pampas. That in turn provides rich soil. One can see a few hills here, but most of the pampas areas are perfectly flat. It is interesting to know that in the year 1789, huge bones were dug out on a muddy river bank in the Argentinian pampas. They belonged to a bear-like mammal, almost as big as an elephant. This beast had massive hooked claws, and when it stood on its hind legs, it would have been 4.5 meters in height. That is 15 feet tall. The local people here called it the giant mole. And the scientists gave it the name Megatherium. This creature may have died out during the last ice age and may have lived on leafy branches. Grassland fires are one of the most ferocious fires that can occur, spreading across the length and breadth of any grassland. However vicious the fire may be, it is considered as an essential part in maintaining the health of the biome. As the fire breaks in the grassland, heaps and heaps of dead plants go up in flames, thus clearing the way for new growth in the coming year. Vital nutrients that have been trapped inside the debris formed in the gone years are released as a result of the blaze that rips down the grassland. These release vital nutrients and in turn help in pumping up the fertility level of the soil. The grassland plants have deep roots and their fireproof seeds survive in spite of being roasted in the fire. Once the ashes cool, within a week or two, fresh shoots begin to reappear. Taking advantage of the open ground and newly enriched soil, they once again spread across the grassland with speed. These are the grasses that capture the vast grassland on their own. Wheat is also a form of grass that is cultivated by humans. Today, vast areas of grassland are covered with wheat. Wheat is a grass plant which is ground to make flour or sown to grow a new crop. In spring, wheat sprouts green leaves, and as it ripens in summer, the whole plant turns golden. Flowers make the earth look bright and colorful, and the quantity of flowers that are found in grasslands are far more than any other biomes. In the season of spring, carpets of flowers transform grasslands into a riot of colors. Other than providing beauty to the surroundings, flowers play an important role in a plant's life cycle. Unlike animals, plants cannot move from one place to another to find their mates. So, the flowers help the plants to reproduce sexually. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from the male part of a flower to the female part of the same flower or another flower, causing the flower to produce seeds. Grassland plants have lots of ways of transferring their pollen amongst each other. Plants with colorful flowers use butterflies and bees as their agents. When a butterfly or a bee lands on a flower, it gets dusted with pollen, which rubs off on the next flower it visits. So, to attract them, the flowers produce bright blooms or strong perfumes. In addition to this, every flower offers the butterflies and bees sitting on it a drink of sugary nectar. This energy-boosting nectar is like a reward by the beautiful flowers to these bees and butterflies. The second way used by grass to spread their pollen to other grass plants is the wind. But the wind is not so effective because it blows most of the pollen away. The winds blowing in the grassland are strong and reliable when it comes to pollination. When the wind blows the grass flowers, clouds of microscopic pollen grains fly in the air and enough pollen reaches waiting grass flowers in the surrounding area. Grasslands are the most fertile places on the earth. One can find the land bursting with plant life to such an extent that it feeds an amazing number of animals residing in grassland. A constant process of change keeps appearing in temperate grasslands. In winter, they look dull brown or grey, while in late summer, the grassland appears yellow and bluish. When the rains dry up, the plants die and the land appears drab and lifeless again. Only grass can survive in such a demanding change. A small part of each grass plant is seen above the earth, but most of it is hidden beneath the surface. Grass has spread to almost every corner of the world. They cover 20% of the planet's land surface. The reason behind this is that they have an ideal shape. Instead of broad leaves, they have thin, flattened blades. These are flexible and bend with the wind without breaking off. Even if a huge animal steps on the grass springs off to its original shape, unlike other plants that gets damaged. These grasslands appear very quiet and peaceful, enjoying the breeze, but this is not so. It is not visible to human eye, but the grassland is a battlefield. Just like humans, plants too never stop competing with one another to get most of the sunlight and water. The grass that wins the battle and manages to get more sunlight and water grow bigger and outgrow the losers. In turn, the losers dry up and disappear altogether. Many of the world's fastest growing plants are various types of grass, including bamboo. Most grassland plants have another trick. By releasing vast amounts of seeds, they make sure that they are first to take over patches of bare ground. When the ground is cleared, grassland plants are the first to make it their own colony. So out there in the grasslands, it is race against time, and there is a constant fight for the survival of the fittest. Covered with a very particular type of grassland, these are the Southeast African plateaus and mountainsides. This particular type of grassland is known as veld. In South African language, veld means field. We can divide veld into various different kinds. They are high veld or high plateaus, low veld or bush-clad lowland plains, thorn veld and grass veld. The bush veld found in the northern part, leaving behind a cloud of dust for their predator. Close to the Kalahari Desert is a forest reserve called Biomes. This reserve is home to black rhinos, white rhinos, bison, eland and hartebeests. Across this desert to the east is the Swine crater. It is close to Pretoria. This 1 kilometer circular crater was created some 200,000 years ago when a meteorite crashed into the world. This odd-looking little animal is one of the strangest creatures living in the world. It is called the aardvark, and in size it is same